Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part of a mini series called Help, I Can't Organize My and then whatever supply it is. As you can tell from the title of this video, our first stop is organizing stamps. So a couple months ago when I did the live on YouTube, the only live I've ever done, it was for the Meet the Creators and someone asked about my storage and organization, and I was like, really, me asking me questions about it? Because I feel like I am probably one of the least organized people. However, I've been bitten by the organization bug and I've been trying to do a lot better, trying to do better with labeling and putting things back, because I find that it helps me with cleaning my desk, although if you saw it right now you wouldn't think that, but putting things back where they belong when there is a labeled space for them or a specific spot for them where they need to go. So my system has evolved and it will continue to evolve. I'm sure that something else will happen and I'll have a new idea. I'll need more room for stamps or dies or things like that. But I have had luck with the way that I'm doing some of the things. When I first started out organizing my stamps, it was in my other house, it was in my other craft room, and I used the photo boxes. And that worked for me because I didn't have a ton of stamps from a ton of different companies. Most of it was MFT and it was easy to store. Then I started getting more into it and spending more money and more time crafting, and I bought from different companies, and then I had a ton of things. And that didn't work when I moved to this house. So initially when I moved into this craft room, I had everything in little wire baskets or wooden baskets with little handles on them. I think that in some of my craft room tours, you will see that that's the way it was. I bought an entire bookcase, a Leah Torp bookcase, just for my stamps. And I had too many. So that didn't work. So I came up with a new solution and I'm really liking it. It's not 100% finished, which you'll see as we go through the video. I'll walk you through how I created the labels. I'm actually going to show you on the Cricut how I did it, and then how I did all my storage for all of the stamp companies that I have. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope that you enjoy this series. Let me know what your major organizational issue is, and if I have a good solution to it, I will add it to the list of videos that I will do for this series. So without further ado, we're going to see how I turned this into my new stamp storage. So here's a quick overview of what the organizational system looks like. These fabric bins were about $4 from Target. You can pretty much find them anywhere. I know IKEA sells something similar. Oh, the little labels are from Amazon. I will link them below, and I have a video at the end to show you guys how I made those little tags. Now, if you pull out the fabric bins, you'll see that I have dividers in there. I've just taken 110-pound cardstock, cut it down, used a banner stencil, and wrote in what the theme of the stamps behind it are. I did this for companies that I have a ton of stamps for because it was too hard for me to find something in that huge pile of, say, Concord and Ninth, or especially MFT. If you look, you'll see 3 bins for MFT, and they're done the same way. So the first ones are kind of background stamps. So if I have a birthday background stamp and then also birthday stamps, they're actually in 2 different areas because I use my background stamps for different things rather than just the birthday stamps. So that's how I store them. So now you'll see if I pull out the honeybee, I did not put labels in the honeybee. I still do have to do that. But then I have some where I have multiple companies because I don't have a ton of things from there. Like Sunny Studio Stamps and Mama Elephant, I don't have a ton of those stamp sets, or Sassy and Crafty. So I had to put them all together in one bin, but I wanted them labeled. So you can see here again, since I don't have a ton of any of those stamp sets, I don't have dividers for them. And then here's Simon Says Stamp, Hero Arts, and the Ton, same thing. I also have some other miscellaneous stuff. I was supposed to do a Lawn Fawn one, so I do have to go back and create that label. And then here's Kindred Stamps, the Rabbit Hole Designs, and Create and Inkspire, and another Kindred Stamps. I have a ton of Kindred. I also divided out Halloween And then it has the Halloween stamps in there as well as a Halloween paper pack. I did a Halloween series this year and I decided to do a Halloween only bin. I don't have a ton of things, but I still do have a lot that I just use specifically for Halloween. Same thing for Christmas. I do my Christmas series and I try to make Christmas cards all year round. So it was just easier to put Christmas specific stamp sets together. And they're divided up by companies. So I don't have the company's labels on there. I wasn't sure if I was going to do that or not, but I know that these are Christmas specific stamps in those two bins. And the last two are completely empty. So that's the way I store my bins. The organizational units are from Home Depot. They don't sell them anymore. However, you can buy similar ones at IKEA, at Target, and probably Home Depot or Lowe's. So that's kind of how my organization looks. And you saw on top of it is my HTV storage. So I will show you guys that storage in another video. I'll go into more depth of that storage. But hopefully you guys liked this as a solution. And now I'm going to get ready to show you guys how I made the labels. So the first thing that I did was open up a page in Design Space and I typed in the title that I wanted to put on the label. That little white rectangle there is the same size that I cut my piece of cardstock down to, and that is just actually scrap cardstock from the pieces that I cut down for the dividers for all the stamps. And then I picked a font that I really liked. I wanted something a little bit bold, so this one was Dom Casual, but you can pick from any of them. I have the Access, so I do have some of the, the pay fonts, but I don't have a ton, so I just picked the one that I like the best. And you can see here, this is using a silver silhouette adhesive vinyl, and you put it face up and the Cricut will cut it out for you. I kind of did some puzzle work to get it all together, but it was about 3.25 inches by 12 inches was all of the words that I cut out. So now that's the end of it, and you're going to see how I weeded and how I got it onto the black pieces of cardstock. So here's the black piece of cardstock, and I cut it down to fit into that little holder, which was again from Amazon. And here are all of the words. So what I wanted to do was cut out one of the very first companies that I wanted to put onto the paper. So you'll see me here taking my long scissors. I probably should have used smaller scissors. For this one, it wasn't bad. I actually did switch to my smaller scissors later on because these had a really, really long blade and I was afraid I was going to slice off part of another word. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and then I'm going to use, I guess you can call them a pokey tool. It is one of the Tim Holtz tools that the point retracts. So I just pick a corner and start pulling from there, and you're going to pull off all the excess. Then you're going to want to weed inside of the letters like A and E and D and B, anything like that. You're going to want to go back in with the tool and pick out that middle of the letter. Be very careful because they're very tiny and they will stick to, the interiors will stick to the other letters. It won't stick to the background, but you do want to make sure that you take them away from the background, because if you leave them there, when you go to put your contact paper on or your transfer tape, you are going to pick that up as well. Also, do not use a soft mat when you are burnishing them. The first couple times I did this, I had a really, really hard time for the letters to stick to my transfer tape. I actually use, I'll show you what I use in a minute, but I use contact paper to do that. So I'm just taking out the centers of the letter. This was difficult because those letters are super tiny, but now I'm bringing in the contact paper. This is just from the dollar store, and I bought this probably 3-4 years ago, maybe even longer than that, and I still have almost half a roll left. So I'm just going to cut off a little piece of this, peel back the side, and then I'm going to place that over top of the words. Now, for me, this is such a cheap, alternative to the contact paper. The Cricut contact paper, I think, is around $13 maybe, and you don't even get as much because this contact paper is super, super long. So that's why I do it. I couldn't find my bone folder, so I actually had to use the circle on the end of this to try to burnish it. I did find it a little bit later. It's one of those things where it was literally right in front of me and I couldn't see it. I felt like a kid, you know, when you ask your mom, you're like, I can't find something, and it's literally right in front of your face. So there you go. And this one was difficult. These ones didn't come off at all. I didn't burnish them very well. So you won't see the whole thing. So now I finally got all the letters on there. You're going to see I found the bone folder in the top right corner. And now you're going to see I just kind of used the bone folder to burnish the letters back onto the paper. This was much easier to do than to take it off of the release paper. I think it was because the silhouette paper that I used, or the silhouette vinyl that I used, wasn't really that great. So I don't know, it didn't really release that well. But that's the first one. And then I'm going to show you, here is the little holder. I'm going to slip it in there. Super, super easy to do. I'm going to show you how I did the second one because it was a little bit easier. So this one I've already weeded out. This is the Kindred Stamps one. And I'm taking the release paper again and going over top of it with my bone folder. Again, I should have been doing it on a hard surface because I think that there's not enough pressure when you do this. So I learned from my mistakes. I should have done that. But you can see only like part of the K came off. So if this happens to you, what you should do, first of all, is flip it upside down. Well, number one, you make sure you're doing it on a hard surface. Number two is flip it upside down and rub the letters from the back. And then also you can see what I'm doing here is I'm going in with each letter and going over them very, very carefully, putting a lot of pressure on there to try to make sure it sticks. This didn't really help. As we went through and I started doing it a little bit more, I got a little bit better at doing it, especially once I put it on the hard surface rather than the cushy surface. But what you can do is take your pokey tool and just kind of gently coax the letters back off of the backing. So this was part of my problem. It took me a really long time to do this because I had to peel off pretty much every layer or letter. And then you also want to slowly peel it back. And some of the letters will actually, as you could see there, like for the N, it actually kind of came off itself. So sometimes that helps, pulling it from the back instead of trying to pull the release paper or the contact paper from the front, if that makes any sense. I hope that it did. So I hope this is helping you guys because I kind of had a little bit of a difficult time with this. I don't normally do this, but actually this technique is really, really great for doing sentiments where you've had to type them yourself and you don't want the Cricut to print it out, like to use the actual pens to write it out. This is actually a really, really great way to get quotes done for scrapbook pages and for insides of cards. I really, really like doing this. I learned that from, trying to think of who it was. Oh, Kiona the Crafty Therapist. I learned it from watching her videos. That's what it is. So anyway, now I'm showing you again how easy it is. You just place it over top of the black cardstock. You're going to take your bone folder or popsicle stick or whatever you have to burnish it and burnish it over there. Again, this step in the process doesn't take that much pressure to do it. It's really just taking it off the release paper that I was having an issue. And I used this piece of contact paper for every single one of the labels. So don't throw it away. You can use it multiple times. So there you go. I'm just slipping that in. And that's it. That's how I made all of the labels for everything. So I hope you guys found this video useful. Let me know what you guys need to organize down in the comments below, and I will work on those organizational videos. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.